The villain. The villain is the fighter everyone loves to hate. They're the person who makes you jump off your couch and scream, "I hope they get knocked out." And here's the thing. They don't apologize. They don't beg for your forgiveness. They own it, embrace it, and keep doing what pisses you off. This isn't some PR stunt. It's real actions, real consequences, real controversy. When the villain steps in the ring, every fight becomes a morality play where you desperately want to see karma served. Floyd Mayweather is the perfect example. Floyd didn't start as a villain. Early in his career, he was Pretty Boy Floyd, a talented kid with an Olympic medal and skills that made people respect him. Then he became Money Mayweather, and everything changed. The stacks of cash on Instagram, the duffel bags full of money at press conferences, the Bugattis, the private jets, the constant reminders that he's richer than you'll ever be. It wasn't just success, it felt like he was rubbing your face in it, and people hated him for it. Then came the legal troubles. Multiple arrests for domestic violence, jail time. These weren't minor controversies. They were serious, and they made people genuinely despise him as a person. Inside the ring, Floyd mastered being hated there too. The shoulder roll defense that frustrated opponents. The fights that casual fans called boring because they wanted blood, not a boxing lesson. He made legends look ordinary. Pacquiao, Canelo, De La Hoya, Hatton, Cotto. He beat them all, and he made it look easy. But here's what made Floyd the ultimate villain. He never lost. Every single time people paid to watch him fall, he won. 50-0. Perfect record. And Floyd knew exactly what he was doing. He turned hatred into paychecks, becoming the highest paid athlete in the world. He understood that a villain who wins makes more money than a hero who loses. So he leaned into it, built an empire on people paying to see him lose, and laughed all the way to the bank when it never happened. That's the villain. The hero. The hero is the fighter who represents everything right about boxing. They're humble, respectful, and they carry themselves like a true champion both inside and outside the ring. The hero doesn't trash talk. They don't need to. Their skills speak for themselves. They shake hands before fights, embrace after battles, and lift their opponents up when the war is over. They're the person parents want their kids to look up to. The fighter who makes boxing look like an art form, not a street fight. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being genuine. The hero doesn't fake humility for the cameras. They truly embody what a champion should be. Manny Pacquiao is the perfect example. Manny came from nothing. Absolute poverty in the Philippines. We're talking about a kid who lived in a cardboard shack, selling cigarettes on the street just to help his family survive. Boxing wasn't a career choice for Manny. It was survival, a way out, a way to feed his mother and siblings. He started fighting as a teenager, weighing barely over 100 pounds, taking fights for pennies. Nobody thought this skinny kid from General Santos City would become anything, but Manny kept winning, and winning, and winning. 8-division world champion, the only boxer in history to win titles in 8 different weight classes, from flyweight to super welterweight. That's not just impressive, that's historic. Legends like De La Hoya, Hatton, Cotto, Margarito, Mosley, Manny beat them all in their prime or near it. But it wasn't just about winning, it was how he won. Manny fought with a reckless aggression that made every fight exciting. Speed, power, relentless pressure. He didn't run, he didn't play it safe. He came to fight and fans loved him for it. Outside the ring, Manny stayed humble. Even as he became a global superstar, he never forgot where he came from. He became a congressman, then a senator in the Philippines. He built homes for the poor, funded scholarships, gave back to his community. When he fought, the entire Philippines stopped. Streets emptied, businesses closed, millions gathered around TVs to watch their hero. And through it all, Manny remained respectful. Even when Floyd Mayweather disrespected him for years, Manny never stooped to that level. He smiled, stayed gracious, and let his fists do the talking. That's the hero. The intimidator. The intimidator is the fighter who makes you feel uneasy just by looking at them. They don't need to say a word. Their presence alone is enough to send chills down your spine. The intimidator has an aura, a dark energy that follows them everywhere. When they stare across the ring before the fight, you can see their opponent's confidence crumble. When they walk to the ring, people know something violent is about to happen. This persona is built on physical presence and fighting style. The intimidator never looks nervous, never looks worried, never shows emotion. They're cold, calculated, and terrifyingly efficient. Their knockout power is legendary. Their finishing ability is ruthless. And when the intimidator is locked in, you genuinely fear for their opponent's safety. This isn't about trash talk or theatrics. It's about primal fear. Mike Tyson is the perfect example. Iron Mike in his prime was the most terrifying human being on the planet. 5'10", 220 pounds of pure muscle and rage. That peekaboo style, bobbing and weaving, slipping punches and exploding with hooks that could separate your soul from your body. And those eyes. Dead, cold, emotionless. Like he was staring through you, not at you. Tyson became the youngest heavyweight champion in history at 20 years old. But it wasn't just that he won, it was how he destroyed people. First-round knockouts became his signature. Opponents were terrified before the opening bell even rang. You could see it in their faces during the walkout, during the referee's instructions. They knew what was coming. Michael Spinks was undefeated, a legitimate champion. Tyson knocked him out in 91 seconds. Trevor Berbick, the man who beat Muhammad Ali in his final fight, Tyson demolished him in 2 rounds to win the title. Fighters didn't just lose to Tyson, they got broken. And the intimidation wasn't just physical. Tyson said things that made you uncomfortable. "I'll eat your children. I'll break your back and make you humble." This wasn't WWE. This was real, and coming from a man who could actually hurt you, badly. Even the way he walked to the ring was terrifying. No robe, no fanfare, just black trunks, black shoes, and a towel over his head. Then he'd get in the ring and pace like a caged animal, throwing phantom punches, waiting to be unleashed. In his prime, under Cus D'Amato's guidance, Tyson was unstoppable, an absolute wrecking ball that made grown men question if they really wanted to be in that ring. Fighters took dives, literally. Some just didn't want to be there. That's the intimidator. The NPC is the fighter who just exists. They're not particularly exciting, not particularly controversial, not particularly memorable. They show up, they fight, they win some, they lose some, and then they fade into the background. The NPC doesn't have a personality that stands out, doesn't cut promos that go viral, doesn't have a fighting style that makes highlights. They're the definition of average in a sport that demands you be extraordinary to be remembered. This persona isn't necessarily about being a bad fighter. Some non-player characters have decent records, solid skills, and respectable careers. They make it to decent rankings, fight on solid cards, and collect paychecks. But they lack that X factor, that thing that makes fans care. They don't have the knockout power to be feared. They don't have the defensive wizardry to be respected. They don't have the charisma to be loved or the controversy to be hated. They don't talk trash, but they're not humble heroes either. They're just there. The NPC is the fighter whose name you forget 5 minutes after the fight ends. The guy filling out the undercard, the opponent for rising stars who need a name on their record, the journeyman who shows up, does his job, loses a decision, and collects his purse. They'll never headline Madison Square Garden. They'll never be on a poster. They'll never trend on social media or get stopped for autographs. They'll have a career, maybe even a long one, but when they retire, nobody will remember them. That's the NPC. The Rebel. The Rebel is the fighter who refuses to play by the rules. Not the rules of boxing, but the rules of society. The Rebel challenges authority, speaks truth to power, and stands up for what they believe in even when it costs them everything. They don't care about being liked by everyone. They don't care about sponsors or mainstream approval. The Rebel is willing to sacrifice their career, their legacy, even their freedom to stay true to their principles. They're controversial, polarizing, and impossible to ignore. And when history looks back, the Rebel becomes more than just a fighter. They become a symbol. Muhammad Ali is the perfect example. Ali didn't just fight in the ring. He fought the government, the media, and the entire establishment, and he did it with a smile on his face and poetry on his tongue. It started when Cassius Clay, a young Olympic gold medalist, became the heavyweight champion by beating Sonny Liston in 1964. Then he did something that shocked the world. He joined the Nation of Islam and changed his name to Muhammad Ali. In the 1960s America, that was radical, dangerous even. But Ali didn't care. He stood firm in his beliefs. Then came Vietnam. In 1967, Ali was drafted. He refused to go. "I ain't got no quarrel with them Viet Cong," he said. No Viet Cong ever called me a niche. The backlash was immediate and brutal. He was stripped of his heavyweight title, banned from boxing, faced 5 years in prison. His prime fighting years stolen. But Ali never backed down. He spent 3.5 years in exile, speaking at colleges, fighting his case in court. He became a hero to the anti-war movement, to civil rights activists, to anyone who believed in standing up against injustice, all while the boxing world moved on without him. When he finally returned in 1970, people wondered if he still had it. He did. Ali beat Joe Frazier in their trilogy. He knocked out George Foreman in Zaire with the rope-a-dope. He proved he was still the greatest. But Ali was never just about boxing. He was loud, brash, and unapologetically black in an era when that was unacceptable to many. "I'm young, I'm handsome, I'm fast, I'm pretty, and can't possibly be beat." He predicted rounds. He wrote poems. He called opponents names and backed it all up. The Rebel doesn't just win fights, they change the world while doing it. That's the Rebel. The Entertainer. The Entertainer is the fighter who understands that boxing isn't just a sport, it's a show. They know that fans don't just want to see great technique and tactical brilliance. They want drama, they want spectacle, they want moments they'll remember forever, The entertainer gives them exactly that. Whether it's through outrageous trash talk, theatrical antics, bizarre press conferences, or wild personality, the entertainer makes every moment memorable. They're not just trying to win fights, they're trying to sell pay-per-views, fill arenas, and create legendary moments that transcend the sport itself. The entertainer knows how to work a microphone, how to get under an opponent's skin, and how to make fans emotionally invested. They're polarizing, magnetic, and impossible to ignore. Tyson Fury is the perfect example. The Gypsy King is a 6'9", 270-pound heavyweight who can sing, dance, trash talk, and box at an elite level. And he does all of it with zero shame. Fury doesn't just promote fights, he creates theater. He's shown up to press conferences dressed as Batman, he's serenaded opponents with songs, he's done backflips in the ring after winning world titles. He's quoted movie lines, recited poems, and switched between charming and menacing in the span of seconds. Before his first fight with Deontay Wilder, Fury, dressed as Apollo Creed at the weigh-in, walked out to Patsy Cline's Crazy and proceeded to outbox the most dangerous puncher in heavyweight boxing for 12 rounds. Then, after getting knocked down twice, including a brutal 12th round knockdown that should have ended the fight, Fury rose from the dead like The Undertaker and finished the round strong. Draw madness. The rematch, Fury walked out in a crown and robe to Crazy again, then absolutely destroyed Wilder in 7 rounds. Post-fight, he grabbed the microphone and sang American Pie to the crowd. Not a joke, he actually did that. But the entertainment isn't just antics. Fury's trash talk is elite. He gets personal, gets creative, and gets in people's heads. He called Vladimir Klitschko boring and robotic for years before beating him in Germany to win the titles. He's mocked Wilder's power, saying he hits like a big dosser. He's gone back and forth with Anthony Joshua, turning potential super fights into soap operas, and through it all, Fury backs it up. Undefeated, beat Klitschko, beat Wilder 3 times, dominated every opponent with a style that shouldn't work but does. A 270-pound man moving like a middleweight, throwing feints, jabs, and uppercuts while talking to his opponents mid-fight. Fury understands that boxing is entertainment, and he's the greatest showman the heavyweight division has seen in decades. That's the entertainer.